There's all kinds of excitement and intrigue about what the Ioniq 5N is like on a racetrack, but let's be real, that's not where it's going to spend most of its time. And that's why I decided to focus on what it's like to live with every day, because even if you do plan on taking yours to the racetrack, you gotta get it there first. Let's go to the montage. For more expert car reviews, don't forget to share our channel and subscribe so you can catch some of this and maybe even a little of that. All right, I guess you could tow your 5,000-pound EV to the track, but something tells me that is not going to be an especially common occurrence. I also don't know of too many racetracks around here with EV chargers, and since no one likes a dead battery, I'm thinking lapping sessions are going to be few and far between here in Canada. But what I can tell you is that the head of Hyundai's N Division let me know that this thing can do 2 full tilt laps of the Nürburgring in Germany and leave the track with about 30% charge remaining. And that to me is an impressive accomplishment. And so is this design. I think it looks great. But then I think the regular Ioniq 5 looks great. This just takes all the retro-inspired goodness and adds enough performance touches to stand out. And this matte paint is the perfect finisher. $1,500 well spent, if you ask me. It just looks epic. I don't have many complaints, but one of them, I would like to see these fender flares pulled out just a little bit wider, but then there's a tastefulness to the design here that holds up well, especially for a daily driver. The interior has some cool touches too, although I will say it's a little more restrained overall. I wouldn't hate just a little bit more color, especially some of that kind of orangey red. You've got this boost button here on the steering wheel, but that's pretty much it. Although I will say these N emblems on the seat backs, they do light up. You can see it at night. That is an awesome touch. I really like that. You've got some checker print here and there on the doors as well as the rockers. That's about it, some blue stitching. Like I said, I'd like to see it punched up just a touch, but in terms of daily driving, these seats are comfortable and supportive, and most of the same features you can get in the standard Ioniq 5 are here. So the front seats, they are heated and ventilated. The steering wheel is heated as well. There are no heated rear seats, but there are even rear door sunshades. I mean, that to me is pretty weird because I can't really see them being put to use here like they might be in the regular Ioniq 5. You also get the twin 12.3-inch screens that Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia have been using for a few years now, and this now has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Praise the car gods. Hyundai has finally figured it out and the implementation is here. Although I will say, in typical wireless CarPlay form, the first day I picked it up, it did not work. I had to plug in, and then on day 2, just miraculously started working. I don't get it. Just another complaint leveled against that system. Now, some other features you cannot get here that you do get in the regular Ioniq 5. As you can see, no panoramic glass roof. There's also no power sliding center console, although that doesn't bug me so much. And I actually like the layout of this one. It is very useful. There's also this NFC setup here so that you can use your phone as a key. Now, I don't have that set up during this test, but I've used it elsewhere. It works really well, and it's cool to see because you don't have to have this big chunky key fob with you. You can lock, unlock, and start the vehicle just with your phone. I really like that. That is some cool technology. Performance car or not, it's just handy to have. Got dedicated climate controls as well as proper buttons and knobs for infotainment. Love to see that simplicity. Something else I love to see, there is a rear wiper, and I have used it a ton today because we've had off and on rain. That was something that this car was missing, and I am just so grateful that Hyundai has listened, has slapped that thing on the back, and it has definitely come in handy. Now, other than that, this thing is absolutely massive inside. That's long been the case with this car. Part of it is the platform, this dedicated EV platform, very flat floor. Take a look in the back seat, so much room. Now, no, I cannot tuck my feet under the driver's seat when I am back there, but there is so much legroom. It does not feel cramped in any way. All kinds of headroom. Yeah, without that glass roof, I actually really dig it. And there's a ton of cargo space too. Now, is this thing a hatchback? I say yes, but you guys tell me what you think. Is this a hatchback or is it a crossover? I say it's the former. A lot of people out there say the latter. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, obviously, we should talk about performance, and there are quite a few upgrades over the standard car. This is dual motor, all-wheel drive. It's got a different battery pack than the regular Ioniq 5. This thing makes 601 horsepower, 545 pound-feet of torque, and when you're cruising around, I still can't get over just how outrageous this is. Now, I'm sure you heard those noises. Yes, obviously, they are synthetic. They're a little put on, I will admit it, but they do lend a sort of familiarity to this car that I really enjoy. No, it doesn't actually sound like a gas-powered engine, but it kind of does. And even when you use the paddle shifters, it'll kind of crackle and pop like an exhaust system. And if you have it in sport mode or any of the real performance systems that you can use with these programmable buttons, well, it sounds like an exhaust outside too. I really think that's a cool touch. It's just a neat feature to have in an EV. Now, there are a couple other soundtracks you can choose from that aren't so great. You also do need to use this E-shift function that simulates an automatic transmission. Otherwise, well, it just kind of winds out endlessly. And it sounds an awful lot like Mario Kart. Now, Hyundai gave this thing a boost mode just like the one you can get with the Genesis GV60. And when you hit this button on the steering wheel, it gives you 10 seconds of 641 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque. And again, absolutely hilarious. You know, this thing feels a lot quicker than it is, typical EV, but it is plenty quick. Now, when you use that boost function, as well as the launch control, this thing will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in a claimed 3.4 seconds, which is crazy. If you don't use that boost function, it'll do it in 3.5. So, I mean, you're really not making up that much time. It's still incredibly quick, feels even quicker, and it's just a part of the experience. No, I'm not talking about track. Yes, I'm talking about everyday driving. You know that novelty is part of the draw of an EV like this. And if you're commuting, if you're getting on the highway, it's nice to give it that nice little shot of instant torque so you can get out ahead of that transport truck or whatever you're trying to do. I really do think that is a cool touch. But something else I like is just how well executed this is in terms of having its own character. It doesn't necessarily feel like a try-hard. It's not trying to be a gas-powered performance car. It's trying to be its own thing. This isn't an Elantra N with an electric motor in the front and another one in the back. This is a dedicated electric performance vehicle that is well balanced, well executed, and actually does have character and charm. But here's the thing, when you are not pushing the Ioniq 5N hard, it can be very docile. So I'm gonna go ahead, toggle it into eco mode. Even that sound turns off. There is no more simulated engine sound. This is just like any other EV. It is very relaxed, very mellow. Range could be better. Now, in fairness, I have been doing better than the official 356 kilometers it's rated for, somewhere in that neighborhood. I headed up above 380 kilometers in normal mode, not eco. When I headed up to a full charge, I was about 388. That's not terrible, although it's not as good as the standard version that's good for 414 kilometers. That again is that sort of magic number for a lot of people. But this is such a niche car that I think it's one of those things you may be able to make an exception for, especially considering all the stuff that comes with it when it comes to performance. So like I said, it's got all these optimized systems. It's got battery conditioning that isn't just to keep it running optimally in terms of coolness, actually warmth. So there's drag settings, there's track settings. The thermal management is incredible. That's how Hyundai was able to absolutely torch the ring with this thing. Sure, only a couple laps. Some people might look at that as a negative, but I look at it as a positive because don't forget, the Elantra N TCR, the actual race car, that thing can only do about 8 laps of the full Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. So I'm talking the Nordschleife as well as the F1 track together. So it's longer than the standard one, but it can only do about 8 laps on a full tank before it's got to pit and gas up again. Considering this thing is electric, that's not terrible. A couple laps, 25%, I honestly thought it would be worse. So that is not terrible. Again, this is a well-executed car and it serves a purpose. Yes, it's a unique one, but it's a purpose nonetheless. To recap, I like the way the Ioniq 5N looks, how it's about more than just straight line speed, and the way it feels like a unique approach to performance. I don't like that outright range is a bit short and how expensive it is, but that's about it. Hyundai deserves all kinds of credit for even building this car in the first place. And I'm sure the market for a mainstream performance EV that starts at about 80 grand before tax is going to be pretty small. But in terms of building a well-rounded halo product for electrification as a whole, Hyundai absolutely delivered. The fact this thing functions so well as a daily driver, well, that's about all you could ask for.